Hello everyone, good evening and welcome back to SLR F1. And today again, as always, Friday night, you know what time that is, it is Division 1. And as always, it is myself, Ham, joined by Jam. And today we have got for you the Vietnam Grand Prix, debut of the Vietnam Grand Prix in F1 for SLR. As obviously we had the F2 last night, but as far as F1 goes, this will be the first running of the Vietnamese Grand Prix in SLR. So then, a circuit that is actually yet to hold a Grand Prix in real life is the Hanoi Street Circuit, just under 3.5 miles, and it will be 28 laps, I believe, Jam? Just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep, that's perfect.
28 laps. And this follows on, obviously, from Bahrain, which was the race last time out, unfortunately cut short by a couple of game glitches, the lobby kind of messing up or whatever, and yeah, unfortunately we had to cut the stream short. So once again, apologies for that, but we did eventually get some sort of finishing order, and it was Dart Zenon that took the victory last time out from SLR Ranga and ARL Predators, I believe, which does mean that Ranga has quite a significant lead in the championship going into this third round. But obviously, with this being a relatively new track, I'd say it's really all up for grabs, given the nature of this circuit. Safety car, unfortunately, isn't going to be on tonight. Well, largely due to the issues we had with it last week. Other than that, not a great deal to mention. We've obviously, as you can see, got 4 drivers missing tonight, as well as a few more full-time, as we've got Colcutt in the Haas as a reserve, although she isn't actually in the lobby at the moment, and Jitto as well, Jam. You know a bit about him, obviously being one of the Williams drivers yourself, but Jitto has moved up here to Division 1. He's done a straight swap for SLR Scopes, who's gone the other way to Division 2. So Jitto will be one to keep an eye out for, and then Rigsy as well. Rigsy X has taken up a full-time seat in the McLaren. But other than that, so enough rambling, enough of the introduction. I believe it is time for qualifying, and we have already got a few cars out on track.
Yeah, only one going out today as well, so as Cole gets back in. But I think, unfortunately, from the looks of things, she won't be able to participate. But yeah, either way, only a max of 2 going out, looking like it's only going to be 1, so could be quite a short session if someone puts it in the wall.
Yeah, I think we've got a couple more joining as well, hopefully, Jam. Throughout the session, I think we will hopefully get a couple more joining. So hopefully we can get up to a, fairly decent number, 18, 19, or come the start of the race. Just sort of following JH around at the moment, as he will be the first driver. Got the honour of being the first driver to set a flying lap here around Vietnam. We'll go on board, and I'll let you take us through the lap then, Jam. First ever lap in an F1 car around this circuit. Take it away.
No pressure then. So JH going to start the lap now, down into turn 1. Going to be braking just after that 100-meter board. Slows it down. Okay. The ever winding turn 2 follows, followed by turn 3 and turn 4 in quick succession. The fast right, left, and then right again of turn 5, and now down onto the first of the 2 pretty long DRS straights. It has to be said, of course, 1 is extremely long. We'll be coming up to that shortly, and that is the end of sector 1. Looked like a pretty solid sector from JH there. Around turn 7 now. Pretty long corner, this one. Ooh, getting a bit twitchy on those curbs. Want to be staying off of those as much as possible. And now, as I said, down the really long straight. Bit of a curve in the middle. It does count as a turn, apparently. Turn 10. Now, slowing it down just about in time. Yes, he makes it. He's weaving around. Not sure if he's too happy with his lap as he finishes his second sector, and now into this final sector, the fast flowing sweeping S's section. modelled after, I believe it's Maggots and Beckett's from Silverstone. They've slapped that into a street circuit, so it's pretty interesting to see how that works out. JH keeping out of the walls though on his first lap, so that's going to put him in good stead. Coming around turn 22, and now the final 23rd turn to finish the first ever lap in an F1 kart for SLR at Hanoi, and it's a 34.7.
So then, yeah, as you say, pretty decent lap there from JH. And as well, Jam, as you mentioned throughout that lap, a couple of big DRS straights, so hopefully it promotes overtaking. I'd like to think that we'll see some overtaking going on throughout the race, as obviously we always do, whether there's straights or not. The guys will always find a way, I think, to make a pass. But at the moment, yeah, JH is top of the timings, although he's just been propped up there. Jitto's gone into second there on debut. One to look out for as well throughout this weekend. So then, yeah, we've got a few drivers now starting to set laps. Unfortunately, we are going to this going into this race weekend, sorry, somewhat blindly. Obviously, we don't particularly know what the cutoff will be, as well, we don't really know quite what to look out for in terms of lap time here. I'm going to have to try and flick over to someone because it wouldn't let me switch through them. And good news as well, Jan, we have got Kolka. She has managed to get into the session. I believe she's in the wrong car, but I don't think that was by choice, although I may be wrong. But we have got Kolka in, and she's in the Renault.
Don't think it'll matter too much though, seeing as she's a reserve and there was a seat free in the Renault and there was a seat free in the Haas. Shouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah. Predators is on a lap jam. Of course, Predators managing to get onto the podium last time out with a good strategy call, which was obviously helped out by the fact that the race was cut short. But he's back again. We're hoping to make it out of Q1 for the first time this season. So let's see if he's going about it the right way as he crosses the line. It's a 35.9. Puts himself P8, so he's last out of the drivers that have set a lap thus far, but he's not too far really off of the likes of Ranga, Jib Jab and Monkey.
No, should put him in good stead. The fact that there's only 17 guys and only 2 going out, you'd like to fancy your chances. I think everyone would like to fancy their chances when there's so few in the session. But yeah, as you mentioned, Predators looking to get out of Q1. He's not done that yet this season, I don't think, but he always seems to find a way to make up places in the race. I'm sure if he... Oh, he's actually left the session. I'll try and get him back in, but yeah, as I was going to say, I'm sure even with without the safety car this week, Predators will find a way to keep himself out of trouble and get himself up into contention come the end.
Yeah, as ever, always dubbed the Mr. Consistent of SLR as Tooman, who I believe is also making his debut as he missed the first couple of rounds, has put himself up into P4. I'm on board with Riggsy here as he crossed the line, goes P5 with a 35.3. So I think, judging by the first few laps that we've had just under a dozen laps now set by the drivers. I'm thinking probably a low 35 to high 34 is going to be somewhere near the cutoff, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. As who have we got on a lap?
Kolka's just starting the final sector.
Alright, if you want to keep us informed with that, then Jam, I'll go on board with Clock, who's had a pretty solid start to the season himself, obviously last year's runner-up. Trying to navigate the streets of Hanoi here. It's a very technical track, is the Hanoi street circuit, and as well as that, obviously it's one that provides a challenge to the drivers in terms of trying to keep it out of the walls, as it is a very fast-paced, high-speed street circuit with a pretty narrow track width, so it does provide that extra challenge in terms of just keeping it out of the walls here. As Clock, in fact, nearly demonstrates perfectly what not to do, as he nearly loses it on the power coming out of the hairpin, as Southerners just goes fastest with a 34.7, so just marginally ahead of JH there, but we're still on board with Clock through the final sector. A couple of mistakes this lap, just coming out that hairpin, losing the rear end on traction. other than that, not looked too bad. As he rounds the final couple of corners now. Horrible final corner, it has to be said. Want to make sure not to drift out too far, otherwise you're going to end up in the wall. As he does cross the line, 35.6 and goes P11.
Yeah, Kolka had been second, but obviously when Southerners put in that 34.7, she dropped down to third. But either way, it looked like a pretty solid end to the lap from what I could see, although she does appear to be lagging quite badly, so I'll have to keep an eye on that.
Kevin's coming to the line jam. Obviously Kevin who's well, he's gone fastest there. There we go. 34.5 from Kevin. I was going to say he's not had the greatest start to the season, despite showing a lot of promise and a lot of potential. I'm sure come the end of the season he'll definitely be up there. I think he's just obviously, you know, getting used to the new game and what have you. But obviously a driver that showed so much promise in Australia to come away with only a few points, if any. I can't quite remember. But yeah, it was certainly disappointing for him. But I'm sure he'll be looking to bounce back this week. It's only a third race of the season after all, third round of a 22 race season, so it's definitely not the end of the world if you have a bit of a slow start. But yeah, he's not starting slowly here, is he? I mean, he's put himself P1 in this first qualifying session, albeit with about 8 minutes left to go.
Yeah, last week's winner, Dark Zenon, currently last without a time set. I think he's on one at the moment, Harry, so he'll be a key driver to look out for. Obviously making the move up from the bottom division last season and taking a win in only his second full-time race in Div 1. That was a pretty impressive feat, even if he was slightly helped by the unfortunate situation with the game.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, don't really want to take anything away from Zen, and obviously it was a very solid drive, and he got himself into the position that, you know, to have a chance at winning the race, regardless of whether it had been called early as it was or not. He was obviously in a pretty decent position. I mean, he was out in front, so you know, you never know what may have happened in the last few laps. As JH has just retired in the pits, so he's happy with what he's done, and doesn't feel he needs to set another lap in this session. I'm on board with Sumner's Jam, who he's actually, I believe he was marginally up in the first sector. I don't know whether he's still up, sorry, so apologies for that. Just obviously not been fully focused on this lap, but we'll go on board with him then for the final few corners and see if he can improve. I think given JH's lap he's probably going to be safe already, but he is going to improve ever so slightly. It's still a 34.7, but he does marginally improve his lap time. Zenon crossed the line, goes P8, but did he have issues there, Jam?
He was flirting with the walls throughout that final sector. He had a bit of a scrape on the inside of turn 23, the final corner, but just about kept it together. I think he might be one of the guys that has to go again and improve, although having said that, only 2 going out. He's 4.5 temps from danger, so he might just about be alright.
Yeah, Morgan's just gone P6 as well, Jam, in the Mercedes. So both the Mercedes once again looking pretty strong here. Both the AlphaTauris though, on the other hand, a bit at risk. Obviously Clock's still in P11, so he's alright for now, but Predator's once again finding himself near the bottom of the timings in this first qualifying session. The only other driver that is in the drop zone at the moment is Silly Bunny. He's also coming into the pits. SLR McEwen is in 15th, bit unlike him, but he is on an outlap now, so I'm sure he'll be looking to improve. Jib Jab has just gone P11, so he's pushed Clock and Ranga down a place as well. So SLR Ranga, pole sitter last week, race winner the week before, down in P13 at the moment, but he is on an outlap, so I'm sure he will be able to improve. Monkey as well, who's been in pretty decent form the first couple of races, down in P14. It's weird, as we're saying, most drivers are in pretty decent form, or you know, they're driving pretty well, but of course we are going to lose 2 of them come the end of this session.
Yeah, Predators in the stream chat, apparently it's his connection or something to do with the game. He says it's undrivable for him at the moment, and it could be his session over already, so that's really unfortunate for him. Hopefully it won't affect him in the race, but by the sounds of it, it doesn't sound like the sort of problem that can be fixed. I think also Kolka's going to have to leave and then retire at the start of the race because her connection's
just left.
yeah,
Colgers is left.
because her connection's pretty bad as well. But we'll try and get Southerns back in, who seems to have fixed his connection issues.
Yeah, I'm on board with
week.
McEwen as well, Jam, in the Ferrari, obviously. He's a couple of attempts up through the first sector, so as I said, I'm sure he'll be improving on his next lap, and he is at the moment. So, for any McEwen fans, obviously, it's good signs at the moment. 4.5 up pretty much through the middle sector, so he's looking pretty good at the moment. And he's definitely going to be getting himself into the top 10 if he can keep that sort of gain up through this final sector. Sumner's back in, which is always good to see. And then rounding the final couple of corners, taking quite a lot of that inside curve there at turn 22. That's not something that you can afford to do at this final corner, turn 23, but he doesn't. Pretty nice. Puts himself P10, 35.3, so I reckon it is going to be around that 35.3 that is going to be the cut-off come the end of the session. Ranger as well, I believe, is on a lap, so we'll get on board with him. Because obviously this could be quite crucial for Ranger's race weekend. Obviously leading the championship with a first and a second at the moment. He'll be wanting to continue that run of form. And what better way to do it than obviously to get yourself as high up the grid as possible. He is 4.5 tenths up, as was McEwen through the middle sector. So Ranger as well, I think, definitely going to be inside that top 10 as he crosses the line. Seeing more and more drivers now just retire as they're obviously happy with their laps, happy with what they've managed to do. As it is pretty tight towards the bottom of the field, to be honest. Liam in 7th all the way down to Clock in 13th. Only just over a tenth between them as Ranger takes a pretty horrendous line, it has to be said, through the final couple of corners, but he just about manages to get it across the line. Still manages P3, so well, that's some very promising signs as far as Ranger's concerned. I think if he can take a pretty compromised line through that final couple of corners and still manage to put himself P3.
Feathers is a 10th up through the first sector, Harry. He'll be looking to try and get himself out of the drop zone. The bottom 2 it is for this week. Freeman reckons the cut-off will be a 35.3, so Predators needs to find about 6-7 tenths to be safe. Lock's gone out again, so he obviously doesn't think he's safe. Same with Riggsy.
Monkey's just gone P3, Jam. Good lap from the Alfa Romeo driver there then, to put himself up into that top 3. There's a few drivers all into the 34.7s. And 7 now into the 34s, so it's looking pretty close again as ever in Division 1. His Predators
in the wall, Harry,
going into the final sector. He's lost his front right end plate. That is not ideal, and I think that will be Predators session over. So Predators run of Q1 exits looks like it's going to continue unless he can find some sort of miracle in these final few corners. Rounds the final turn. Just about keeps it out of the walls again, but it's not going to be an improvement, and I think Predators will be out once again in Q1. We've got the Renault City Bunny Jam 7 tenths up through the middle sector. That will be enough as it stands to get him through if he can keep it out of the walls in this final sector.
Jib Jab's still in the pits as well, Harry, in 14th, so Silly Bunny and Clock improve. Jib Jab could be out here. I'm surprised he didn't go out, to be honest, because he was right on the cusp for pretty much the whole session. I think Bunny's going to do it. Yep, goes P9.
Bunny goes 9th.
Comfortably
so
safe.
Risk from Jib Jab. Will it pay off? I'm not convinced it will, but we'll have to wait and see. Is Clock on a lap? Yes, he is, and Clock is already nearly 4 tenths up through that first sector, so that's easily going to be enough for Clock to get through. Riggsy should be safe then, given that Predators can't really improve and Jib Jab's in the pits. Whether he knows that or not, I don't know, but it is everyone's safe then. Clock, the only driver that can really impact the remainder of drivers in this session, is whether he can get himself ahead of Jib Jab into P15 or higher. That will see him through. Otherwise, we will see both the AlphaTauris out. Predators has retired. I think he might have just crashed there as well. Clock, big mistake though. Big mistake from Clock coming into, I think that was turn 20. And he's gone wide. He's locked up then into turn 22. Definitely some time lost here from Clock. And I wonder, could that be the defining factor? No, it's not. Clock still manages to get through 35 flat. Few mistakes there in that final sector, so definitely time on the board there for the AlphaTauri driver, but he will get through at the expense of Jib Jab, who opted to stay in the pits. So then, Jam, obviously with hindsight, bit of a bad call there from Jib Jab, but pretty close though between most of the drivers, so I'm sure Jib Jab will bounce back in the race.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate for him actually, because Kolka obviously not being able to continue in the race because of her connection issues, so Jib Jab would have made it through if she.
Oh, is that it for Kolka?
She wasn't
Kolka
in.
just not racing.
Yeah, connection's too bad. I think she said she'd just leave after lap or retire after lap 1. Unfortunately,
Oh,
I think it might be
shame.
looking like the same for Predators because his connection isn't, or something's with him. I think from what I can tell from the stream chat. But yeah, very close indeed. It was 12th to 16th, separated by about half a tenth. So yeah, very close towards the bottom end, and even the top as well. 3 tenths between Jitto in 7th and Kevin in 1st. So still anyone's game at the moment. Of course, new Trek as well. Some drivers maybe keeping cards close to their chest, not wanting to give anything away just yet.
Yeah, like you say, Jam, obviously Jitto on debut looking pretty strong in P7. We are just waiting for the clock to cross the line. The other thing that I think is quite promising, Jam, is that obviously we've had a couple of drivers now, notably Ranger and Clock, who we've been on board with, and they have made a couple of mistakes on their laps. So it shows that a lot of these drivers do still have time on the board. So I think we are just going to keep seeing these lap times tumbling down throughout this quali session. I mean, it does show obviously that a lot of these drivers do have some very good pace, and it's good to see that the drivers can, you know, they can make a mistake or whatever, and it's obviously promising that we've got some very fast lap times on the board already. So here we go, and the session has ended. Right then, so that is it for Q1 for the Vietnam Grand Prix. Kevin GT then in the Haas, the early pace setter with a 134.572. Sorry, Southerners and Monkey complete the top 3, but 4 other drivers in 2 other drivers, sorry, so 4 in total into the 34.7s. The 2 drivers that are out are Jib Jab in the Ferrari and Aero Predators in the AlphaTauri. Predators 3 races in a row for the start of this season not getting out of Q1, but that hasn't stopped him, as we've seen points finishes in both of the first 2 races. So can Predators keep it a 100% record of being out in Q1 and still scoring points in the race? We'll have to wait and see, but that is by the by. We'll focus now on the drivers that made it through to Q2. 15 of them in total, although I'm not entirely convinced if we're going to be seeing all of them out on track. It depends whether Kolka opts to continue in this qualifying session despite having some connection issues. But it is now time, I think, to talk a little bit about the strategy. It will be interesting to see what tyres the drivers opt for in this Q2 session, what tyres they opt to start the race on, and whether some of them can, you know, are confident enough that they can manage to get through, perhaps on the harder compounded tyres, that being probably the mediums. I'd be surprised if anyone tried to start the race on the hards, but you never know. In terms of strategy, I believe it is very tight as to whether a 2-stop or a 1-stop's better. I think it all depends on obviously other factors, such as, you know, if you get stuck in traffic or hit the wall or whatever. Possibly opting slightly more towards the 2-stop, as you can push the tyres a bit more, don't necessarily have to worry about the wear. But then having said that, obviously if you know, get stuck behind someone and you're unable to pass, then it's not going to be ideal. As I say, it's very tight between the 2 and the 1, so obviously we'll maybe won't know entirely until the end of the race.
Yeah, probably edging slightly towards a 2-stop though if it was me. I think obviously those long straights making it pretty easy to overtake around here, and yeah, being able to push the fresh tyres all the way throughout the race seems quite appealing. But I guess mediums to hards, maybe over softs to hards. If you can get through on the mediums, might be appealing to some drivers. I also touching on Predators, as you mentioned, I don't think unfortunately he's going to be able to continue. I think he's given this one a miss due to his issues. Colker trying a hotspot as well, so hopefully she can solve her problems and carry on with us.
Yeah, obviously in terms of strategy, oh, hello, we've got a safety car on the track. Hello?
Whereabouts is that?
Is that just me? Is that just me? Behind Kevin on the start-finish straight, there is the safety car going round. Kevin just ghosted through it. Let's see, JH. Yeah, JH is coming up to it as well. What on earth
I
is
think
going
that might
on?
just
We've
be
got
you,
the
because I
safety
can't
car
see it.
lapping around the track. Morgan's coming up to it as well. Yeah, so the safety car has decided to join in for this Q2 session then. So I wonder what lap time the safety car.
I think that's just you. I can't see it.
I think the safety car's my tip for pole then, by those things. I don't quite know what's going on, but once again, a Friday night Division 1 race here for SLR, and we've got the safety car throwing a spanner into the works. Definitely changing possibly the outcome of the race. I don't know, but yeah, it's slightly strange to see the safety car then on people's outlaps and as they've started behind that.
I think that's just you, because I can't see it.
We've got a Ferrari off jump.
That's McEwen.
We've got a Ferrari into the wall. That's McEwen coming out of I think turn 7. He's into the wall.
He's rejoined the track quite dangerously, but thankfully that's Monkey on the outlap.
It looks as though the line Liam's taken down that back straight is one that would suggest he can also see the safety car. But I don't know. Perhaps
I
I'm
can't
mistaken.
see it on my screen.
We'll try and get back to the task at hand, which is obviously people setting laps here in this Q2 session. As Kevin is crossing the line, he's going to be the first driver to cross the line on the medium compound tyres, 35.698 for the Haas driver. Pretty decent lap on the mediums, has to be said. I think there is about a second difference between the tyre compounds, mediums and softs, as Morgan demonstrates that quite well, doing a 34.7. So then, yes, try and catch my bearings a bit, as obviously slightly distracted by the safety car there, making an appearance in this Q2 session. But we'll try and get back on task as Jitto now in the Williams has crossed the line, gone fastest at the moment, 33.9. So the first, sorry, no, I'm mistaken, not the first driver into the 33s, but the first driver into the 33s this session. Right then, let's try and work out what's going on. Yes, as I was going to say, the safety car isn't on this weekend, although obviously it begs to differ, seemingly, as it's trying to make its appearance despite not actually being on. But yes, so the safety car shouldn't be on, which means that obviously in terms of pitting behind said safety car, it won't be taking place this weekend. So it does mean that perhaps the one stop is slightly more favourable, given that obviously you're losing around, I believe, 18 seconds in the pit stop. So you know, you're not going to be sort of cancelling that out, pitting behind the safety car or what have you. So I guess a one stopper would sort of gain 18 odd seconds by doing one less pit stop. But yeah, obviously I wonder if the safety car is turned off then, because it's driving around. But there you go. On board with Silly Bunny in the Renault. Didn't race last time out of Bahrain, but he's back now for Vietnam. He's gone purple sector 1, but I wonder if that's just to himself. I wonder if the safety car's still going round. I think it is actually. I think Bunny's just coming up to it down this back straight. I'm going to try and not keep going on about it, but I do think it is rather hilarious that we have got the safety car just going around doing practice laps in this Q2 session. It's obviously something that the drivers can't see, because Bunny's just driving straight through it. It kind of glitches as he does it, but I'd be very surprised if he can see the safety car, because he wouldn't just drive through it like that, or he wouldn't be able to drive through it like that. So I wonder if it is just me and it is some sort of visual error, but hopefully that isn't occurring in the race, as it may be quite distracting. but nevertheless, obviously Buddy on his lap now, looking pretty decent so far. See where this lap can put him, as I reckon the cutoff will be probably towards the 35 flat, given the track evolution that we almost certainly will be seeing in this session. Across the line, 35.4. Anything you've noticed particularly, Jam, as I've been rambling on?
Not too much. I saw Rigsy put in a 34.9. I've just been trying to get people back in and out of the session, but yeah, it's weird because I can't see the safety car. I'm not sure if the drivers can see the safety car, but obviously you can, so I'm not quite sure what's happening with that. And I'm getting some messages. I think the lobby might be restarted after qualifying, but I'll have to keep up to date with that and see what's happening. But yeah, not much to report. Not really been able to watch too much, unfortunately.
All right. In good news though, Kolka's back in. As well, Tooman put himself P3 in the Racing Point, so strong showing from him on debut. Kolka back in, as I mentioned, so that's obviously good to see. So we hopefully will have all 15 drivers in this Q2 session taking part. We've still got 5 drivers actually yet to set a lap. 6 if you include JH, who's currently on a 43.7, so that's not really competitive. Kevin at the moment sitting P8 with his lap on the mediums, although he's got a set of softs fitted, so I wonder if Kevin's going to go out, try and start on the softs. He's obviously got the pace to get through, but it's whether he can hook up that lap, but I'm sure he will be able to.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's going out on softs as well by the looks from today. I think that's going to be the way to go. Liam, one of the few still out on mediums, but he's invalidated another lap, so I should think he's just going to come in and fit on a set of brand new soft wall tyres and go for it towards the end of the session.
I'm on board with McEwen, Jam. He's on a lap now, just coming into the final sector here. Again, another visual glitch with yellow flags going on around the track when there's no one there, but we'll just have to make do, try our best. McEwen, bit of a slide on there through turn 20, I believe that is. Just losing the back end slightly, maybe losing a bit of time in the process. He's going to come across the line here, set a lap, 34.5, goes P4 just behind the Racing Point of Tooman, just ahead of the Mercedes and Morgan.
We've got Kolka coming out the pits, that's good to see. Hopefully a connection's better. It looks like it's a bit more stable. The car doesn't seem to be jolting around as much. We've also got Southerners on an out lap back in the session, so hopefully at least a majority of the connection issues are going to be sorted. Pred's saying he won't be rejoining because his connection's too sketchy. It's unfair on others, so very sporting there from Predators, looking out for the rest of the drivers.
I think we will almost certainly have to restart the lobby though. His car will still be on the grid, because that may cause some issues. JH is back out on the mediums once again, obviously looking to improve on that 43.7 that he's currently sat on. Going to focus a bit more on the drivers towards the bottom of the timings at the end of the session here, because obviously those are the ones that kind of important. JH pulls off into the pits, and all the drivers in the bottom 4 yet to set a lap, and none of them. Oh, Southerners just starting a lap. There we go. I was going to say none of them on laps. Southerners just starting one. It says he's been going 5 minutes 30 and it's already invalidated, so don't know quite what's going on with that. We'll see if we get any more luck with Kolka, who's on a lap. Kevin is Kolka about to start a lap, sorry. Kevin is on a lap. Jam, if you perhaps want to just keep us updated on that. Otherwise I'll shut up for a second, let your ears actually have a breather. We'll watch Kolka on her lap.
Kevin up to the line, Harry, goes P2 with a 34.2. That should be him safe, I should imagine. Just, yeah, always seems to be these Div 1 races where we get some sort of glitch, some sort of bug in the game. Zydred's saying that Hanoi is just glitchy in general, the whole track, so that doesn't bode too well for the rest of the weekend and the rest of this race. But yeah, Colquitt, Southerners, Monkey, JH, and Liam all in the drop zone at the moment. Liam about to start a lap. Colquitt and Southerners on their laps, and yeah, Monkey and JH also like to start laps. But how's Colquitt looking so far, Harry?
Looking pretty solid at the moment. She's around about where McEwen was in terms of time through the middle sector, so I'd expect to see the Renault pop up in around 5th or 6th position. Once it crosses the line, Southerners has pitted again, so he's in a bit of trouble if he can't get back out in time. Colquitt, meanwhile, round in the final corner, coming up to the line, and it is P4 for Colquitt, so slightly ahead of where I estimated. Good lap from the Renault driver, and Colquitt up into P4 just ahead of Toomey.
Right, yep, confirmation as well, Harry. New lobby after qualifying.
Oh, we've got a Alfa Romeo. Monkey has lost it, I think, as McEwen did coming out of turn 7. I think a pretty similar sort of incident. They didn't quite catch it, but given the way that he was in the barrier, I think it was probably pretty similar to McEwen. Liam, purple to himself through the middle sector as Rang is returning in the pits, so he's obviously happy with his lap. 34.3. Jitto as well follows suit. So Liam as well matching pretty much about where Colquitt and McEwen were through that middle sector. So again, I think I'd expect Liam to slot in around them. Oh, as he just taps the wall around the final corner, that's definitely lost him some time. Across the line though, he does go P7, as pretty much everyone is out on track. Is anyone on a lap? Is JH on a lap? JH is on a lap, so here we go, we'll go on board with JH. 4.5 cents up through the first sector, but I'd imagine JH will be finding some more time throughout the lap. He's actually getting a pretty nice tow off of his teammate SLR Morgan, so I wonder if that's something that Mercedes have arranged prior to this evening. As yeah, it was a very nice tow JH just got from Morgan there, pretty much along the whole of that back straight. So is that going to help JH out when it comes to getting through? Certainly looking good so far in terms of his delta, in terms of his time compared to others in that top 10 at this stage of the lap. Oh, grabs a lot of that inside curve though, loses the rear end slightly. That will definitely have lost him some time, but will that be a big loss of time, or will it just be a little bit, maybe a tenth or so? We shall see as JH runs the final corner. Pretty nice line through there, across to the line, 34.3, so hopefully for JH that little
should be good
slide on the curb won't be too crucial for him. Jesus, I've just absolutely pooed myself as I've just flipped over to Zenith, who was driving right through the safety car. As I switched over to him, I jumped. I thought he just smacked into the safety car, and then I realised what it was. But yeah, Zenon is on a lap to get to the point. He's currently 13th in the drop zone, as is his McLaren teammate Rigsy, who's also on a lap. So I wonder if you could perhaps just keep an eye on that, Jam.
Getting a bit of a
Bunny in the Renault,
that's what I've seen,
is crossing the line. So Bunny in the Renault across the line, can't improve, stays P12, so that is going to be Bunny out in this session. Monkey as well, he's in the pit, so he's definitely out. Summers is on out lap. I think he's started his lap after the session has ended. So I wonder if he'll be allowed to finish that or not. He shouldn't, but you never know. Zenon now around in the final couple of course. Noticing a lot of these drivers running out of ERS before the end of the lap here, so maybe that is a bit of a tricky thing to manage around here. Zenon only improves enough to go P11. Rigsy is out, P13 for him, as Summers has just gone P6, so I wonder if that's just a bit of a visual glitch for me. I think it must be my My screen playing tricks on me. Southerners has crossed the line and gone P6, which pushes Liam out. So Liam's out P11, with McLarens of Zenon and Rigsy 12th and 13th. Silly Bunny in the Renault 14th, and Monkey unable to settle that in the Alfa Romeo P15. Tooman just scraping through with the one lap in P10. Clock P9 in the AlphaTauri. Pretty quiet session from him. Didn't really notice him, but he's managed to get the job done and get through. Both the Mercs then towed each other through, but they've JH and Morgan both through to Q3. Kolka in the Renault, standing in as a reserve. Her first appearance of the new season in P7. Summoners P6. We've got Ranga, championship leader, P4. Kevin P3. Jitto on debut for Division 1 in P2, so looking very strong. And then McEwen did just grab the fastest lap of the session right at the end there in the Ferrari.
Yeah, obviously less of an advantage now, starting just outside the top 10, so the likes of Liam, Zenon, because yeah, restarting the session unfortunately for them, so no advantage of the fresher tyres. But either way, they get a free choice of strategy. They're not limited to starting on the soft tyres as the whole of the top 10 are.
As actually, what did all of... Yeah, so everyone actually set laps on the softs in the end, so all of the top 10 will be starting on the soft compound tyres. And that is regardless of whether the lobby's restarted or not. They will have to start on those tyres, otherwise they will be disqualified. Everyone else obviously has free reign, free choice of tyres, as we're just waiting for the end of this session. Hopefully it will be fairly soon. In fact, it's going to be right now, as the clock should have hit 0, but it hasn't. Oh, so here we go. What's the bet that we don't go through to Q3? It would not surprise me. It has to be said, it would not surprise me.
I think it's Southerners that we're waiting on.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm on board with him. We're just sort of going round at the moment. So a bit like last week then. Apologies again. Game glitches. Not a great deal that can be done about it, obviously. But yeah, we're just gonna have to, I think, probably get the lobby set up again. You know. Oh, someone has left, so I think we might actually get. Okay, I think we'll be alright. I think if you just drop someone as an invite back to game. But yeah, so again, not the smoothest of transitions through into the final part of quali, but nevertheless, hopefully we'll get that to you in a second then. So it was McEwen setting the pace in this Q2 session in the Ferrari. Jitto close behind in P2, and then a bit of a gap to Kevin in P3, but comfortably through in the end. In fact, I say comfortably through, just over 3/10 between 3rd and 11th, so it was pretty close between them. It is Liam, Zenon, Rigsy, Bunny and Monkey, the drivers that are out. And now
Anyone's guess for pole though still, I think. So
we will ask for your prediction.
Nicely, doesn't it?
Anyone's guess, but
in the stream chat.
you've got to guess
Pole,
for
please.
us.
Who are you going with then, Harry?
Oh, I feel like it really could be anyone, as you say. I mean, McEwen obviously looking strong, as is Jitto. Kevin, I think, perhaps didn't quite maximise his lap time there in that session. Ranga as well, Kolka. I'd say any of those 5 have really got a good chance, but I wouldn't be surprised if any of the other 5 that I didn't just mention have an outside chance. I think I'm going to go with Kevin, though. I'll go with Kevin to get pole.
My heart says Jitto, because obviously part of the Williams team, like myself, but my head says McEwen, so I'm going to say SLR McEwen for pole. Snydred saying Kevin, Crispy saying Jitto, and that's all we have so far. Midzy agreeing with me and saying McEwen. So yeah, no one's saying Ranger interestingly enough, even though all last week. But yeah, not quite looked at the same level that he did last week, unfortunately for him. Although he's obviously still up there, so well inside the top 10.
Well, I mean, Ranga dominated the quali session last week, although it wasn't quite the same story in the race. He was definitely battling with McEwen for quite a while. So yeah, I mean, quali pace isn't always the be all and end all, obviously. But yeah, like you say, perhaps not quite on the level that he was last week in terms of well, really being at the forefront of the field throughout quality. We'll go on board with Kevin, who is going to be the first driver across the line, the first one to set a lap in this Q3 session. So Kevin's going to set the time for everyone else to try and beat. We'll go on board with him if you want to take us through it, Jam.
Yeah, I'll give him a shot again. Yellow flags in 6-3, but that's just going to be everyone backing up to start their laps. McEwen's slowing it down nicely for turn 1. Oh, sorry, it's Kevin, of course. Yeah, probably could cut a bit more of that inside curb, but he plays it safe. Hooking it up nicely. Want to avoid that wall on the right hand side because it's very easy to understeer into it if you just carry a bit too much speed. Heading down the finish, sector 1. Taking nice big chunks out of the inside of that chicane, which of course you can do. Interesting track limits in places around this track, as just highlighted by Kevin. Now getting a nice exit onto the main straight, going to be reaching speeds of about 210 miles per hour. DRS open, slight kink, but it's flat out all the way through, committed. Keeping it tight to that wall on the right hand side. Slows it down nicely for the hairpin. Getting on the power, bit of a squirm on exit. And now about to start the final sector. Bit of a lock up on the inside right, but it shouldn't affect him too much. Committed again, close to the walls, but he's been brave and I think it's going to pay off. Turn 22 now. Lock up again on the inside left, but shouldn't lose him too much time. Close as you dare to the walls through turn 23, and it's a 33.3 from Kevin. That is a brilliant time.
Clock the next driver to cross the line. 35.7 for him. Closely followed by one of the Mercs, but I think they invalidated. Jitto's just hit the wall there around the final corner, but still goes P2. 33.6 for the Williams driver. McEwen 34.8 for him. So I wonder if he's made a bit of a mistake on his lap there. Kolka goes P3 just ahead of McEwen. And Tim P5 for the racing point. Ranga crossing the line now. What's he going to do? 34.4, so puts himself P3. Bit of a gap then already between Jitto and Ranga, but I'd be surprised if that is... well, I'd be surprised if it's that big anyway, come the end of the session. We've got a couple of drivers, I think both the Mercedes invalidated their laps. Southerners, I think, is on... Is he still on his out lap?
Oh, I've been saying that the whole time. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Well, Southerners is on some sort of lap, although I'm not entirely sure if it's actually him driving. It does kind of look like an AI. I don't know. But yeah, so Southerners is obviously having some sort of issues with connection, so Southerners will probably set a lap time at some point, and we'll just have to sort of tell you when it happens. Most of these guys will be coming into the pits, so obviously put on a fresh set of tyres and go again. But at the moment, Kevin then, early pace setter. 33.3 is the time to beat.
It's a brilliant time from Kevin.
Yeah, everyone's just coming into the pits. Yeah, as you say, Jam, very good lap from Kevin. My tip for pole, he obviously got pole in Australia, so he's definitely got the 1 lap pace. He's already shown it once before this season that he's got the 1 lap pace. So yeah, it'd be well, be interesting to see if he holds on to that pole position. Giotto, very impressive from him thus far. P2 at the moment, obviously making his debut in Division 1, coming up from Division 2 after only a couple of races, and yeah, he's currently sat in P2, looking very strong indeed. And well, I wonder if Giotto perhaps can get a bit closer to Kevin. Obviously, we didn't. We saw we saw all of Kevin's lap. Sorry, we didn't see much of Giotto's lap, but from what we did see of it, did make a little mistake. So there's definitely still some time on the board there for the Williams driver. McEwen and Giotto both back out on track as well. So then most of the drivers obviously just going around for out laps at the moment. I think it's going to be McEwen, or no, it's not. It's going to be Summers, I think, to start a lap. But if his timing or whatever is kind of messing up, I think we will move on to someone else. So obviously it's never nice to see drivers struggling with connection issues, but unfortunately that is kind of the harsh reality, obviously playing over the internet. But here we go then. Sumner's starting his lap, and yeah, he's already on 2 minutes 13. So we'll scrap that. We'll go to JH as he's about to start his lap now. So slowing it down for turn 1 pretty nicely there. Going round turn 3.
Oh, that was wide.
Turn 2 and 3, sorry. Yeah, it was very wide. Sort of holding that throttle on about 75% for the majority of that corner, but then blasting it down this back straight here. Purple to himself, obviously through sector 1. Chicane cutting a lot of the curves, which you can do. Again, another one of these long left-hander this time, obviously turn 7, easing the throttle back on for the back straight here, very long back straight. Hopefully going to see a lot of overtaking done down here in the race. Slowing it down for the hairpin, just missing the apex, running onto the curve slightly, so that will compromise his exit a little bit onto this next little straight here, and then coming into the 3rd sector, getting running a little bit wide, so not too bad on the whole from JH. Trying to obviously navigate through this fast pace chicane, Maggots Beckett style final sector, and then round the final couple of corners then. As he crosses the line, what's it going to be for JH? It's not going to be pole. It's going to be P3 at the moment. Is that going to be for P3 at the end of the session? Giotto's invalidated, but I think he'll be able to go again, and it looks like he's lining up to do so. Kevin has just started a lap jam, so should we go on board with him?
Yeah, I think we should. Hulk's in the pits as well, Harry, so she's not coming out again. Kevin down slightly in sector 1, only 700 so it's very tight. Oh, he's overcooked, he's gone in deep, and I think that could be his session over. I don't think he'd quite make it back round in time for another lap. So we'll have to switch on to someone else. I think same with Jitto as well, he's invalidated.
Yeah, I think that'll be it for Jitto, yeah, as you say. Kevin might have time, but yeah, I'm not entirely sure. Southerners has gone P3. Apparently he's doing a 52-second lap as well.
McEwen will be the next cross the line.
Southerners has gone P3. Yeah, McEwen then. McEwen's on that. We'll have a look. We'll see how he's doing. Four tenths up through the middle sector. So he's definitely going to be in and around that P3, P4 position. Obviously, unless he gains...
he's invalidated.
He's not going to gain anything now because he's invalidated. And he's not going to get around again either. So that's going to be McEwen's session over as well. Kevin pitted, so Kevin won't be improving. Clock has invalidated. Morgan then I think is basically the only other driver on a lap. Oh no, Ranger's on a lap as well actually. But Ranger's just binned it, so Ranger isn't on a lap anymore. So it's only going to be Morgan now then who can change the outcome of this Q3 session. As yeah, I believe that is it for everyone else, isn't it? So Mercedes driver then coming into the final sector here, looking pretty good at the moment in terms of his sector split, in terms of the time that he's put on the board at the moment. Yellow flags up ahead, but there's just no car there. So again, another visual glitch. Already running out of his battery, so it's going to slightly slow him down through these final few corners. But pretty nice line through the final corner there, and he comes up to the line, goes P3, only the third driver into the 33s, but a somewhat underwhelming Q3 session there that was determined, was, you know, the outcome of the session. It was done on the first runs with Kevin taking pole from Jitto on debut in P2, Morgan right at the death there, putting it up into P3 in the Mercedes, championship leader SLR Ranger P6 for him, so not too bad on the whole. Your tip for pole jam, SLR McEwen down in P8.
Yeah, would have been interesting to see what he could have done if he hadn't have invalidated, but just one of those things, unfortunately. But yeah, either way, Kevin, that with a absolutely brilliant lap. I seem to find myself saying this every week, but that'll be the sort of lap that will put you right up there in the elite, I should imagine, come Sunday. Probably a top 10 lap in the elite, to be honest, but yeah, either way,
lap, wasn't it?
he's in Div 1, that's pole for Kevin, so fair play to him, and bear with us while we restart the lobby, I guess.
Yeah, so as Jam just mentioned, we will, I think, be restarting the lobby, so there will be a bit of a delay between now and the start of the race, obviously more than the usual 5 minutes that we do have, but we'll try and get it sorted as quickly as possible and get back to the racing. Obviously that's what you're here for, and that's what we're here for, to see the racing, and hopefully we won't have any issues this week, touch wood. But obviously, given the current situation with the game, you never know. So again, we've just got cars going around at the end of the session. So yeah, we'll obviously just have to kind of wait for that. I think some of us may have to leave again for us to actually get to the final screen with the end of session results on it. I don't know whether we'll receive that message or not. If anyone can hear us. Has everyone started to leave Jam, or is it just? Yeah, everyone's.
Yeah, everyone started to
Right.
leave. Guess we'll join them then.
Yeah. So then, pole for Kevin GT in the Haas, 133.389. Very impressive lap from him. Closely followed though by Jitto on debut in the Williams. Again, I mean, kind of running out of adjectives to use for Jitto because it's very impressive for him, putting it up into P2. Morgan in the Mercedes P3, only other driver into the 33s in this session. So then, we will be, we'll try and make it a quick turnaround. And whilst we're doing this, for anyone in the chat, if you want to get your predictions in for race winner, guys on the podium, stuff like that, feel free to do so and we'll read out. Are we going to get an invite? Hopefully so. Have I got one? No.
Darnell says Jitto, Southerners, and McEwen for the podium. Jitto for the win. That'd be an interesting podium. I don't think any of those drivers have been on the podium yet this season. I think. Of course, Jitto has in Division 2, but I don't think so in Division 1. It's nice to see new faces. I've got an invite.
Yeah, I was also, Darnell not tipping Kevin to convert that pole into a podium. Interesting, has to be said. I think Kevin's obviously got some very strong pace, but just having pace isn't always necessarily the defining factor, as we've seen many a time in SLR. Obviously, you got to keep it out of the walls, especially at a track like this, and that goes for all drivers, obviously, not just Kevin. I think that will definitely be a big factor in this race. Is those that can avoid damage will probably rise to the top throughout the race, as especially at a track like this, getting damage is pretty critical as far as things go. Just whilst we're getting the lobby up, I think I might take this time just to quickly grab a drink. So if I'm not saying anything for a few minutes, I know, not like me is it to not be saying anything. But yeah, I'll just quickly go and grab a drink. So I'll be back in a second. I'll leave you in the hands of Jam.
Right then, getting a few more predictions coming in. We've got Zygod saying Kevin to win, Jitto in second, and McEwen in third. That seems like a bit more of a realistic prediction, I should think. Kevin converting a pole into win, I think, is a good shout. Beast reckons Kevin, Southerners if his connection stays okay, and McEwen for the top three. Tell us your best joke. I don't think I've got any, to be honest. Sorry, disappointing, I know. V-Tax, I think that's how I say it. I'm just guessing, so if I've absolutely butchered that, but it's Jitto, Kevin, and McEwen for the top three, and Ranga in fourth. So quite a few backing Jitto to get a good result in his first Div 1 race or so. A couple of you saying that Jitto won't be on the podium, but I guess only time will tell. Obviously, I think points in general would be a great result for Jito on his debut in Div 1, but with the potential that he's showing so far, I think a podium or a top 5 really would be a very good result for him. But don't want to put any more pressure on him than he's already got. Obviously, moving up a division, all eyes are going to be on him to see how he performs. I should think we're going to be getting going pretty soon as well. Just waiting for a couple of guys to choose their cars, I think.
Right, I'm back. Have we got everyone in the lobby?
I think we might be missing one though.
I think we are missing one because we've actually got an extra driver in. Bland. I don't know how.
I'm just calling him Bland, I reckon.
Yeah, Bland. We got Bland in the lobby. I'm not going to try and attempt to pronounce the second part of that in case I butcher it. So yeah, we've got Bland in the lobby. Yeah. But yeah, so we are missing someone. It's
No, I think it might be because
Renault.
Predators isn't carrying on.
I know. Kolka's finally gone. Well, Kolka's managed to get into the Haas. So yeah, I think actually it may just be Predators, as you say.
And now we wait.
I think they'll just be going through the grid.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. I forgot about
A
that.
slight delay because obviously, yeah, we'll have had to put on a custom grid in order to get the positions correct.
It's gonna be a hot one again, I reckon. I'm pretty hot just sat here commentating, so I should imagine some of the drivers won't exactly be enjoying it. The heat, that is, of course. So I guess another thing to ask potentially to try and keep everyone engaged while we wait. What is everyone's bets for the strategies, the winning strategy as well? That could be quite a crucial hards or softs, medium softs, I think are the obvious choices. I think the winning strategy will be the two-stop softs, medium softs. That's my prediction. What about you, Harry?
I'm gonna. I think whatever Kevin does will win. No. I think if quality's anything to go by, there is obviously a bit of a difference in pace, perhaps between Kevin and Jitto and the rest. So I'm not. I think if they go for different strategies, then well, obviously we'll find out which one perhaps is the better strategy. I think if someone goes for a one stop, that is they could certainly move up a few positions. Obviously it's difficult to say because judging by quality there was a bit of a difference in pace. Hence why I think if Kevin and Jitto both two stops, they would without any issues. Obviously, if it was just purely on pace, I think they both still come out on top. So we'll have to wait and see. But I'll say a two stop. I think will be the winning strategy.
We've got Zydra agreeing, saying softs, medium softs to be the winning strategy, or at least agreeing with me. But yeah, could be a really interesting one, I think. Finally got a bit of a different strategy rather than just a simple one stop. Will it be a two? Will it be a one? This track just seems to remind me of Mexico quite a lot, Harry, with the choice of the one stop and the two stop, and obviously the long straights. Just sort of get that feeling of not quite knowing what the winning strategy is going to be until the very end.
Yeah.
Which probably sounds quite obvious, but yeah, obviously not having done a race around here before as well really makes the strategy even more unpredictable. Because yeah, hopefully we're going to get underway pretty soon. Shouldn't be having too much of a break now either with the lobby being restarted.
Hopefully not. I think the break may be slightly shortened.
Hopefully no issues as well.
Oh no, we're having the normal 5-minute break apparently. So yeah. Obviously the top 10 will all be starting on the softs as they were the ties that everyone in the top 10 used to get through to Q3. Anyone who doesn't do that will be most likely disqualified, but I'm actually yet to witness that. I'm yet to witness that in a league race, but you never know. Seemingly going through a lot of firsts here this evening. Definitely the first time I've ever seen the safety car trying to participate in a qualifying session, but there you go. So then, I'll have a brief look at the race director, see what everyone's going for. Obviously slightly worrying that the game instantly puts you on the mediums, so all the guys in the top 10 will definitely have to make sure that they have selected the softs. I've actually got Bland at the back. On the hards at first, but opting for the mediums, I think second time around. Riggsy looking at the softs. Only driver outside the top 10 at the moment that has put the softs on. Obviously we'll have to wait and see whether that is the case once they've all lined up on the grid and begun the formation lap, but that won't be happening for at least a couple of minutes yet.
Yeah, seems like softs, medium, softs is the popular strategy. Mid-T agreeing with that as well. I know in the Wednesday race, that was the popular choice, the softs, medium softs, two stop. But I guess starting on the mediums as well leaves you open to either mediums hards potentially or medium soft softs, being quick at the end, obviously on your fresh soft tyres.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I say, obviously, with the safety car not being on, it does perhaps give the one stop a bit more of give it a bit more of a chance, perhaps. Obviously, as there's no way for a driver to sort of remove the time loss of a pit stop that you would normally under the safety car. So yeah, like I say, anyone that does try one stop will obviously have 18 or so seconds kind of in pocket. So you never know. Maybe a one stop is the way to go. We'll have to wait and see. Obviously, I'm not sure if it will necessarily completely clear the debate as to which strategy is the best one to go for, but it will certainly obviously give everyone a better idea, as obviously we've got 3 more races still yet to come this weekend after Division 1. We've got Division 2 and Division 3 tomorrow, and of course we've got the Elite Division on Sunday, which will be featuring both Jam and myself.
And
So
we're
then,
finally
Jitto
getting the way by looks.
still hasn't selected the softs, which is still quite a worrying sign. Other than that, it looks like Liam mediums, Zen and Rigsy softs, so both McLarens going for softs. Bunny, Monkey, Jib Jab and Bland all mediums. I really hope for Jitto's sake that he is on the softs, as he does appear to be on them now. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we won't have any issues with a driver unfortunately not selecting the correct tyres. As far as I can tell,
He's on the softs,
it does look as though we are all right. So then, here we go. After a fashion, as it was last week.
Yeah, tyres looking good.
Restarted. We are going underway for the formation up here for the inaugural Vietnam Grand Prix for SLR F1. Kevin GT, your pole sitter, will lead the drivers around for the formation lap, as only softs and mediums on show then for the 17 drivers here racing tonight. And in fact 12 of the 17 going for the softs.
2 stop either way apparently. Hard soft softs or medium soft softs or soft softs mediums were the ones that just came up on my screen.
I'd take that with a pinch of salt. It's either a one stop, I think most likely being softs hards, or 2 stop being soft medium soft. Those would be the 2 strategies I'd suggest.
Most of the guys that's at top 10 on the mediums, so Harry, apart from both McLarens who are on the softs.
I guess medium soft softs for those guys could be a shout, or medium hards, as I say.
Only time will tell. Keeping it out of the walls, I reckon, is as important as this strategy. Just avoid damage, and you'll probably be able to get a good result.
The other thing as well, Jam, actually of note, is that both strategies, 1 or a 2 stop, you are pitting off the soft compound tyres around the same time, around about lap 8. So we may not really get much of an idea as to what strategy everyone's going for until we do get to around that lap 7, lap 8 mark in the race. But you never know, someone may dart in early, try and get that undercut. So then, drivers then just around in the final few corners, going into their grid slots. It's a relatively short run up to turn 1, but it's not the shortest on the calendar. So there we go then. We've got the final car just going into its grid slot, and we are going to have 3, 4, 5 red lights. Long hold on the lights, but it is going to be lights out, and away we go then. 4, the Division 1 Vietnam Grand Prix, and Jitto looks like he's got a very good start, and he's going to go down the inside of Kevin into turn 1. Kevin turning in quite early there, Jitto having to cut across the apex to avoid the contact. There's yellow flags in the background, but Morgan sliding up the inside of Jitto into turn 2. Morgan in the Mercedes, putting himself up into P3. The other Mercedes of JH as well, fast starting up into P4. There's still yellow flags, but it looks like everyone's got through. Well, everyone's through at least. Whether they're unscathed or not is another thing. But Kevin does maintain the lead then on the opening lap, although he's got the fast starting Mercedes and Morgan right on his tail as we go down onto the back straight then. So it is going to be Kevin from Morgan, from Jitto from JH, Southerners in the Racing Point P5, Ranger holds position P6, Kolka switching to the Haas P7, McEwen P8, Plot in P9, Briggsy up to P10, so good start from him and the other McLaren of Zenon, also P11 as JH goes for a dive bomb on Jitto into the hairpin, bit of contact made. It looks like JH is not going to give this up though. He's going to try it then round the outside into the third sector, but Jitto holding on down the inside. Riggsy's got a 5-second time penalty for corner cutting, so that's unfortunate there for the McLaren driver, but JH does manage to make it through past Jitto into P3. The Williams driver down to P4, so he's lost a couple of positions. So both of the Mercedes off the start, and Riggsy as well, Jam, has dropped back. He's now down to P17. Tooman as well started P10, but he's down to P16.
Yeah, I saw Tooman getting damaged at the first corner, lost an M plate. Riggsy, not quite sure what happened to him, but he's got another 5-second penalty now for speeding in the pits, so not the best start, not the start he'll have wanted on his debut as a full-time driver.
Jitto then right on the back of JH, will go on board with him. He was right on the back, but he's not got the best of exits, I don't think, out of turn 4 or 5 or whatever it is. He's not going to be close enough then quite yet to make the move. Kevin already over a second ahead of Morgan, and that is ideal for him as he looks to try and get out of DRS range of the Mercedes. Riggsy's pitted for hards, Tooman gone on to the mediums. In fact, JH looks marginally closer to his teammate than Jitto did to him. We've got Liam and Monkey going side by side in that final sector, going into the hairpin. Sorry, Monkey trying to hold it around the outside, I think, and Bout keeps it ahead of the Williams driver.
Yeah, I think Southerners is in fifth, yeah, but he has a bit of a glitch. Says he's in 17th, and I think a lap down. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen with that coming into the race. So yeah, all the positions from 5th downwards are sort of back one. So Ranger's actually 6th, and so on and so forth. Southerners is not 17th, he is 5th.
Yeah, Kevin setting the fastest lap and extending that gap then to over 2 seconds for Morgan, who's currently P2. Just on board with Jib Jabber as he was looking quite close to Liam in that final sector, but I'm going to swiftly move to JH and Jitto, those who are battling out on track, although Jitto is a bit of a way behind. He's actually got Southerners having a little look at him, slightly confusing obviously.
Silly Bunny round as well.
That close on the timing. Silly Bunny, as you say, Jam, is round, coming out of the exit of turn 5. We've got McEwen, Jam, right on the back of Ranger. DRS is enabled, so McEwen definitely got the run here on the Red Bull driver. Both of them will be getting DRS though, so it's whether McEwen can get the speed, and it does look like he's got some pretty good straight line speed here, the Ferrari driver. Is he going to go for a move? Southerners having a look at the inside of Jitto in the foreground, but again, both the drivers then, Southerners and McEwen, they're keeping position. Clock gone in deep.
Yeah,
and lost quite a bit of time as well, I think, in the process. Bit of a group forming already then, 2nd to 7th, all very close.
I believe it's actually second to 8th, but yeah,
Second to
7th
8th,
from here.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah, a bit of a Morgan
Yeah,
train.
8. Although he's not exactly going slowly, is he? Oh, as Bunny has crashed
Spinned it.
in the final sector. Morgan's got connection issues, Jams, because he's going very slowly through the first few corners. And Morgan's lost out to not only his teammate JH, but I think Jitto just had the run on him there. But Jitto making contact with Morgan as he ghosted, so I wonder what is going on there. As Morgan's AI, I think, is going to look to try and make a move on JH, which wouldn't be ideal for the Mercedes pair. I need you, hopefully, Jams, to try and get Morgan back in as soon as possible.
I've been told not to invite anyone if they disconnect, and also Southerners appears to be a lap down despite nothing going wrong with his connection. Seemingly, he looks like he's not lagging, but he's just a lap down for some reason.
Yeah, Jitto then managing to get past the AI of Morgan, and he's now got a good run on JH. He's a bit too far back there, I think, to go for the move. All of this is allowing Kevin to really extend that gap. It's almost 4 seconds now to the Haas driver out in front. JH then moving up into P2, Jitto P3, Ranga now moving up, I guess, into P4. Because it says Southerners is quite a way down, and Southerners is actually lagging quite a bit as well. Morgan's AI P5, and unfortunately I don't think Morgan's going to be able to get back into the session then by the sounds of things. McEwen is P6 at the moment, although I think he should get him relatively quickly. He might have a look, in fact, here into the penultimate corner, which he does. Down the inside then goes the Ferrari driver on the AI Mercedes, and he's managed to get it done. So McEwen up into P5. That Mercedes round the outside into turn 1. Just going to hold it on the inside of turn 2, losing the back end slightly round the long right hand that is turn 3, but I think she's just about going to get it done. Just leaving a lot of room though for the Mercedes, and it comes flying back through. Barges its way back past the Haas driver, but Kolka's going to have the run, I think, into the next couple of corners. But the AI definitely won't give up. Everyone knows what the AI is like in this game. But Kolka does just about get the move done. But I don't think that's going to be the end of that, because the AI is going to get the DRS on Kolka. And Kolka's not got DRS on McEwen in front, so that's definitely lost these guys some time. They've all spread out quite considerably as they've tried to navigate their way past the Mercedes driver. Talking to someone getting past the Mercedes driver, we've got Jitto to the outside going into the hairpin. I think JH is going to try and hold it, but Jitto, I think, getting the move done here. We've got yellow flags, so I don't quite know what that's for, but Jitto does get the move done then. Kevin's lost a little bit of time as well, Jam. I don't know if you've seen anything with him, but he has lost a few tenths in the last lap or so. Jitto then in the Williams back up to where he started, P2 for him.
No, I think he might just be saving a bit of ERS. He looks comfortable up front. No noticeable damage on his front wing, and 80 or 90 odd percent ERS. So yeah, I think just managing that gap, making sure he's staying consistent throughout the whole race, I think.
Kolka in the Haas has definitely lost out, because she's now got locked within DRS. McEwen is catching back up to Ranga, but goes very deep into turn 1. Nearly flips the Red Bull as Ranga turns in. But McEwen then looking pretty racy, looking pretty quick as well, as he's going to get the run on Ranga down into the chicane that is turn 6. Got the DRS, Ranga of course hasn't. McEwen then going to look round the outside. It's pretty tight through here, not really wide enough for 2 cars, and Ranga has to yield as McEwen gets it up the inside then, but Ranga won't give this up. Championship leader, of course, wants all the points he can get his hands on. I think he should get the DRS on McEwen, then down this back straight, and I wonder if he's going to fly straight back past the Ferrari driver, but he is very low on the ERS. McEwen not really pushing his battery. Ranga is obviously to try and get the move done. McEwen seems to just let Ranga go, so Ranga does hold on to P4. Southerners has managed to get past JH, but unfortunately he is seemingly going to be counted as a lap down as it stands. And we'll obviously have to see how that progresses, as I believe there has been some talk from the league owners as to well, whether to sort of change the rules with regards to that. Don't quote me on that, it's just what I've heard. The Southerners is actually P3 on track. The game's saying he's P16, but that's not the case. So JH then, seemingly just losing a bit of touch then, especially to Jitto after being passed by the Williams driver. Kevin has sort of just pulled that gap out ever so slightly more since I was slightly worried it was coming down a bit. Other than that, not too much happening, despite a lot of drivers being pretty close on track.
Oh, McEwen and Ranga's still going at it. Ranga's got back past, I think.
Ranga's quite low on his ERS compared to McEwen, so I wonder if McEwen was perhaps just biding his time, thinking he can get past this time around. This has allowed Kolka as well to catch back up to them, and she's managed to pull Clock along with her, so Clock as well getting involved in this fight for P4 as McEwen goes to the inside of Ranga, going into the hairpin. Ranga's going to try and hold it around the outside, taps the wall slightly on entry, and then getting a little bit loose on exit, so McEwen does get up into P4. Been going on for a while. McEwen though in the Ferrari, managing to get past the championship leader of SLR Ranga, and he's putting away a bit already, so I wonder if Ranga's perhaps struggling a little bit. He's quite low on the ERS, so I wonder if that is perhaps just stunting his progress somewhat, as Kolka's now pretty close to the Red Bull driver now in this final sector. We've also got a pretty good battle going on for the sort of lower points playing positions. I think SLR Morgan's AI is still driving that Mercedes, but it is sort of providing quite a good battle, I think, between Morgan, Zen and Monkey and Jib Jab, as Monkey, in fact, sorry, is going for a move down the inside of the McLaren driver of Zenon into turn 1. Zenon's going to try and hold it. He will have the inside line for the next few corners. And yeah, they're still going side by side. Monkey though just about gets it done. In fact, Zenon Jam missing an end plate.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing where that's happened, unfortunately, but missing an end plate, that's going to be hampering his progress, especially on those soft tyres. Not what he'd want early on in the race. As should imagine we'll be seeing some drivers starting to come into the pits around pretty much now, really. Lap 8. Oh, Zenon collapses into the wall. Jib Jab can't avoid him and hits the back of him as well. Both drivers getting damage. Big damage to the McLaren for Zenon as well.
Whoa. I just flipped away from that because I was about to watch Kolka go for a move on Ranga. But some very stern defending from Ranga. I think Kolka looked one way, didn't think it was possible, then tried to go the other, but just had too much closing speed. Nearly ran into the back of Ranga. Didn't really look like Ranga did much wrong there, but yeah, that was very nearly a massive accident. Kolka got pretty close to the back of that Red Bull, and I was very worried for a second there. Hence my exclamation. But luckily, they managed to get through unscathed. Ranga's definitely losing some time since McEwen passed him, sorry, and he's pitted, as is McEwen, as has the race leader of Kevin, which does release Jitto. So Jitto, on debut, is going to lead at least one lap of a Grand Prix.
Kevin going on to mediums. I think most of these guys look into a two-stop by the looks of things. Ranga onto hards.
Ranga looking for the one-stop jam.
Pretty much everyone else on the mediums or softs though, if they pitted, Harry. So yeah, some locked into a two-stop. Only seems to be Ranga and Zenon going for the one at the moment.
Kevin crucially jammed, just getting out of the pits ahead of Liam. That was very important because obviously Liam's teammate Jitto currently out in front, not too far off Kevin in terms of time. So for Kevin to get ahead of Liam there, that was very important. Ranga, he's put himself into a decent position on the hards, although having said that, obviously he's already a good sort of 5 seconds or so off the leader, or off the off Kevin, who was the leader, of course. So well, it would be quite surprising if he were to, I think, take the win, given the situation that he found himself in, obviously being a little bit behind Kevin, but you never know. Obviously we've had plenty of surprises throughout the first few races, so I definitely won't put my money on anything, but Kevin looking very strong at the moment. Jitto coming into the pits. Southerners stays out, as is JH. Kolka as well staying out. Clock as well staying out. I wonder what tyres Jitto's going to go onto as a monk. Oh yes, as he's on mediums.
Pit window for hards is open just now apparently, and Jitto's going into hards. I think I can see.
Jitto.
Yes,
Jitto's going to
going
put
for a bit
himself
of
in
an
a very good
undercut, I guess,
position
compared to the others on the hards, I should imagine.
So then, where's Jitto going to get out in relation to Kevin? Actually, he's pretty darn close. I think he could here on the Haas driver, has Jitto, because he's well, he's definitely not more than 3 seconds behind him. Bit of an overcut, as you correct me. Thank you, Jam. Yeah, so as you say, the overcut here, looking slightly for Kevin, as we've got a very ill-sounding engine there of JH. JH battling for what is technically the lead with Southerners, which is quite strange. Southerners is apparently in P16 as JH looks to go down the inside. I'm going to move off this in a second because I quite like my eardrums to be intact. But yeah, so Southerners just about managed to defend. Colker staying out, as is Clock, so I wonder if these guys are doing perhaps something slightly different with the strategy, given that they are going quite a way on this first set of soft compound tyres.
JH was so close to the walls there, but he's still just about got a hold of it. He looks like he's just wrestling with his car, and he's going to follow Sevens into the pit.
Both pit. Colker stays out, as does Clock, so I wonder if Colker and Clock are going for a bit of an unorthodox strategy here. I think softs to mediums is just about possible, although it is very much a stretch. So maybe these two are looking at softs mediums as a viable strategy option.
Clock's still going.
Monkey also pits as well in the Alfa Romeo. He starts on mediums, as has Liam, who also started on the mediums. Jitto lost a bit of touch to Kevin after sort of everything kind of unravelled itself after the pit stops, but obviously Jitto should be going to the end of this race without having to stop again, whereas Kevin can go to the end without stopping again, but I think given that he'll have to do 20 laps on those mediums, it would be quite unlikely.
Yeah, how it is to say, Colk and Clock's still going potentially for that softs mediums. I don't like the sound of that, to be honest. It just seems like it seems like to me they're just going to lose too much time on the softs. One softs towards the end of the first stint, and then one mediums towards the end of the second. Just does not seem like the optimal strategy to me.
I'm on board with Rigsy Jam as he's looking for a move on Tooman. Both these two drivers having to pit on the first lap. Tooman onto the mediums, Rigsy went onto the hards. Tooman is also missing his front left end plate as Rigsy's looking up the inside into turn 7.
Lovely move if he makes it.
From the McLaren driver, but a very nice one at that. And I think he has made it, Jam. Yes, he has then. Rigsy getting up past Tooman in the racing point, but Tooman's coming straight back at him. Bit of wheel banging
straight
as Tooman tries to sort of get the room for himself to get through, and he does look like he's going to hold on to that 10th place after a bit of jostling for position. JH as well, Jam, notably went onto the hards, as did Zenon.
Colk Clock still carrying on.
Runners, Jam. All the mediums runners went onto the softs.
Yeah, surely if they've done 12 laps now on these, or they're about to do 12 laps now on these softs, and surely they can go mediums now. I guess with the fresh softs at the start. Oh, as we have a yellow flag, I believe that's for Bland, and he's gone straight into the wall. He couldn't avoid that. Big damage.
Just seen it. I think he must have lost his wing because there was just absolutely
didn't look like he could turn.
No turning, was there? Yeah.
Just picking up a penalty as well. That could be crucial later on in the race.
Oh, I know we've got a race going on, but honestly, man, I've just switched over to Southerners, sort of more by accident than by choice. But it had his AI sort of driving through the middle of sort of downtown Hanoi or something, I think. He's now just sort of flashed back onto the track. I think he's in like a net P5, but I really don't know. But
that's close between Clock and Colker.
Thought I'd highlight that. Clock and Colker then, as you say, still battling, as are Tooman and Rigsy. Jib Jab's joining in on this battle as well, but it looks like Rigsy's going to have the run on the racing point. Are Colker Colker and Clock going to pit this time round? Yes,
Yes,
they
they
do.
are.
Rigsey's having to back out, Jam, of a move on Tooman.
Here comes
And in fact,
Jib-Jab.
Jib-Jab's going to get the pair of them here. Jib-Jab then, double overtake for the Ferrari driver down the inside of Rigsey and Tooman into the hairpin of turn 11. And I think they've just about got it done. So very good move there from the Ferrari driver. Rigsey and Tooman, I think, continuing this battle.
JH is off.
Seemingly been in tandem for most of this race. JH is off in the final sector. Yes, he is, Jam. Do you know
Kevin's
what happened
pitted. Kevin's in the pits. And he's been held up by his teammate as well, Colker, who pitted as well that lap.
there? Oh no!
Going onto the hards and fixing his wings. So Kevin must have got damaged somewhere on that lap.
Kevin got damage.
Jitto now
Wow,
into the
so,
net lead on his debut in Div 1.
It's all kicked off.
And he's
all
not
kicked off.
got
Jitto
to
then,
stop
yeah,
again
as
and
you
like
say.
the guys behind him.
Jitto then commanding lead, it would seem, at the moment. Tooman still defending from Rigsey. These two still going at it, as they have been for quite a while now. Rigsey down the inside into turn 3. Gets the move done into 4 and gets a pretty nice exit out of 5. But Tooman yet again looking to go right back at him here. They're battling tooth and nail here. And Tooman down the inside. He's going to get the move done, but I'm sure Rigsey won't give this up, as he goes back down the inside straight away. So Rigsey showing the fighting spirit here, as we've also got action going on between Monkey and Morgan's AI is still going around in P7, but Monkey is trying to get past it here. Are we going to see a move here by the Alfa Romeo driver? Yes, we are. So Monkey in the Alfa Romeo up ahead of Morgan, and we've got yellow flags in the final sector. I think Ranga might have hit the wall, Jam.
I'll have a look if I can see. Doesn't look like he's got
like
any
it.
damage to me. I think it's just a constant yellow flag that keeps coming up in the final sector.
I'll tell you what though, he might not have hit the wall, but he has got JH right on the back of him in that Mercedes. Ranga, I think, got a bit of an undercut or overcut, whatever. He got past JH in that sort of pit stop period, and this is at the moment pretty much the battle for P2. Although having said that, have Colker and Clock both pitted and come out here?
Yeah, they got a massive overcut.
Massive.
I'm not
overcut.
quite sure. Yeah, I'm
have
not
they
quite
managed
sure how
that?
they've done that. Guess pulling each other along, and yeah, they've come out net.
Have they?
I think
do their
on
lap
track
times
they're
look significantly better?
I really don't know. On track they're P4 and P5, but on the timings it says P3 and P4. So just
I
depends
think,
what happens with Southerner's car, I guess.
Sonas is on the hards, Jam, so I think they are sort of net P3 and 4 once McEwen's pitted again, because I'd say most likely McEwen will have to pit again. Jitto, though, not really losing any time out ahead. In fact, I think he might have even started to gain some to McEwen. So Jitto, as we say, at the moment looking in a very strong position, but I won't try and jinx it. As again, yeah, we keep seeing those yellow flags, I think, just in that part of the track. Once again, no one's actually gone off, so maybe try not to pay too much attention to them.
Just having a quick glance at the timings, Clock and Colker did appear to be going quite a bit quicker than what Ranga was, so yeah, the overcut working really well for them, which is pretty surprising, to be honest. Jitto extending his lead at the front as well on the hards compared to McEwen, who's on the mediums.
Yellow flag sector 1. I wonder if that was
That's
a legitimate yellow
That's
flag.
another yellow flag that just keeps flashing up every once in a while.
Okay, nothing to worry about then. But again, Clock has jumped Colker as well, Jam, in the pits. Or he's gotten past Colker because he wasn't ahead of Colker earlier on in the race. But Colker's definitely looking very quick at the moment. Purple first sector for the Haas driver. Reserve driver for this weekend, making her first appearance this season. But she's pretty close to the back of the Clock in a very strong position here to get onto the podium. As we've got Monkey and Ranga battling. Ranga on the hards, Monkey on the softs. There shouldn't be too much of a competition, sorry, I don't think. Although you never know.
Time now. But I guess he's on the
As
halves.
we've got Morgan's AI still battling, so Morgan's AI still is providing some action in this race as Wenger loses the back end quite significantly there, coming out of the hairpin, but still managing to stay ahead of Monkey. He's also out of JH's DRS, so JH as well on that one stop, looking pretty good at the moment. I think if Colker and Clock can take those mediums to the end, they'll be looking pretty strong for a good result. Here's Monkey, opportunistic as ever, going for a move down the inside of Ranga. Not really the place to overtake, and well, Ranga told him that rather sternly there, as well, he shut the door as he was perfectly entitled to do, as he clouts the wall as well around the final corner. I wonder if he's got damage from that. Looks like he's just about gotten away with it. So Ranga just holding on to this P6, although it does look like Monkey will be getting past him relatively quickly here, as he's having a look again up the inside. The exit of turn 3, he's going to have the DRS coming out of 4 and 5. Pulls alongside the Red Bull driver, and he's gotten past him there going into the chicane, as you can see. Just looking over that rear wing of the Alfa Romeo, and it is that Red Bull of SR Ranga, championship leader. Currently sees himself in P7 though.
Oh, massive crash!
Oh, hello.
Between Ranga, Monkey and Morgan's AI.
Oh, there's a
just caught the end of it.
Wing. There's a load of front wing just passing.
Yeah, that's the whole
going off Liam's car.
Wing from Ranga.
Oh no, Ranga's in the wall! Ranga's in the wall, Ranga's out, and Liam's hit him. I think Liam's got damage from it as well. Kevin's going to get through. I think Liam's definitely got damage. I think Liam is going to have to pit, but Ranga just smacking into the wall there.
Liam pits.
Liam does pit, and he pits a 5-second penalty as well. Things go from bad to worse for Liam. Ranga's out, as is Morgan, so Morgan's AI is crashed as well. So I think more issues there from the AI. I was just about to say, Jam, Clock and Colker have started actually somewhat reeling in Southerners, who is well, on track P3, and so they might be getting past him relatively soon. Anyway, I believe McEwen still has to make a second stop.
Yes,
although not mandatory. I think most likely he will still have to pit. Jitto is actually extending that gap out in front. As it's fixed itself, Jam. I've just got Southerners appear in P3 on my screen, albeit a minute and 26 behind McEwen. It does say that the Racing Point driver is up into P3, so somewhat fixing itself. Hopefully it will once it's gone round again. Liam, is that? No, Liam's just come out of the pits, I beg your pardon. Monkey P11, I think he's had to pit as well, because I think he picked up some damage during all of that as well. Riggsy and Tooman, Jam, still going at it here. I think they've both pitted again for some fresh mediums, but they can't be separated here in this Grand Prix. I mean, they're only fighting over P12, but nevertheless, obviously, it's I guess it's the battle for who's not going to finish last, and it seems as though neither's really wanting giving anything up here, as Tooman once again going for the move, although he's hit the wall as he's gone for it. I wonder if he's got some damage from that, but he has got past Ricci relatively comfortably, although he's just completely missed his braking point and then just driven straight into the wall. So there you go. Perhaps a good job the safety car isn't on, because that looks a little bit suspect there. His timing's still glitching out. It now says he's a lap down
in the chat though, Harry. Everyone's supporting that big 10-man overtake he's just done from 13th to 3rd.
Yeah, so good job from Southerners. A lap down for MP3, as Jitto is, well, rather comfortable by the looks of things.
Not the world of his own, but yeah, pretty comfortable.
Well, still over 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix though, still a long way to go. We're down to now 12 runners. It's another race of attrition here in SLR. seeing them more and more often now, by the looks of things. I think we're going to see McEwen come into the pits in the next 2 or 3 laps. Southerners on the hards is definitely being caught by Clock and Colker. It's just whether their tyres can sort of hold out till the end, if that is what they're going to do, if they are going to try and get to the end here. JH P6, although JH has gone a little bit off the boil, we've just sort of got constant yellow flags for the circuit.
Probably just best to ignore and see an incident, I reckon.
Yeah, it's quite obviously difficult to sort of work out what's going on. But yeah, like you say, probably best to ignore them unless one of us says something. Although yeah, now the field is pretty darn spread out. In fact, this is, I think, the closest any 2 drivers are out on the track, and they're only just within a second of one another are Clock and Colker, as they have been really for the duration of this Grand Prix. And in fact now they have caught right up to the back of the Racing Point of Southerners. Of course, both Clock and Colker on medium compound tyres as opposed to Southerners on the hards. But even so, it's taken them a little while to catch up to the Racing Point. So maybe won't be the easiest of overtakes that we'll see over the duration of this race. But I think both Clock and Colker will be looking to get past Southerners in the next few laps.
Looking like another what could have been for Kevin. Just like Australia, just seems to have such good pace, but just one little mistake costing him dearly. Finds himself near anyone. Yeah, McEwen pitting for the second time, as we expected, of course. Yeah, that'll be soft to the end.
Yeah.
So that is your actual top 3, top 4 now, as it is on track. Jitto on course at the moment. Don't want to commentate his cursing, but
no.
First race in Div 1 on course for a very strong result. That's all I'm going to say at the moment.
I would be surprised if McEwen caught them. He's come out, unfortunately for him, just behind JH. Although I think he'll probably make light work of the Mercedes driver, given the significant tyre advantage that he has got. Although yeah, he's a good sort of 12 seconds or so behind those guys. So depending on how much Southerners Clock and Colker battle, maybe McEwen will catch up to them. I don't know, obviously we'll have to wait and see. But at the moment it does seem as though a one-stop of some description, whether it be a soft hard or soft medium, does seem to be the way to go. As Southerners and Clock were battling their Clock, trying to get the move done, but Southerners holding firm, they're standing his ground, not letting the Alpha Tauri through without a fight. And all the while they're going to be losing time to McEwen, so I'm sure Clock will be sort of, you know, in his helmet, trying to chivvy Southerners up, because obviously it's crucial for all of them really to not lose too much time to McEwen, especially while McEwen's got the tyre advantage. So the softs will start to go off towards the end, which will probably be when McEwen catches up to them. So I want to try and keep him at bay for as long as possible, as I think Clock is going to be lining up another move here on Southerners. Didn't get the best of exits though, has to be said, out of turn 5.
8 onto a set of softs to the end, I should imagine.
Clock then quite a way back actually from Southerners, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's actually unable to get past the Racing Point driver now. And I wonder if perhaps sort of getting to the stage where those medium compound tyres aren't really much better than the hards that Southerners got on. It does seem perhaps like that is the case, given Clock's difficulties here. As Southerners all goes a bit wide there, and Clock very nearly smacked into the back of him, but they're alright for now. Colker as well managing to stick with these two, just swerving there to try and probably cool down the engine temps as McEwen then, he's obviously on the charge setting the fastest lap jam. He's looking good.
Yeah, that's the
catch him.
Well, that's the bonus of the fresher tyres, the soft tyres at the end. Got a good shot at the fastest lap. I think he'll get P2 in this race, but I don't think he'll. I don't think it'll be easy for him. Let's say that. I don't think it'll be easy for him. Those mediums will be going off, so they won't be great. But I think getting past Southerners on those hards at the end won't be an easy task. But yeah, I think he'll just do it. So yeah, I'll say P2 for McEwen, but podium definitely possible. As
Here
we've
we
got
go,
Clock.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Clock's going for the move.
As we say that.
Southerners trying to hold it on the inside, wheel to wheel between the two. Who's going to get the better traction? It seems pretty even actually between the pair of them. Clock's got the inside for the next corner that goes very deep, and I think that's going to allow Southerners to get back past, which it does. And now Clock's under pressure from Cole. So Clock then, he got it, the move all but done, but went slightly deep into the next corner and gave Southerners the place back. He's obviously pushing because I think he knows what's at stake. I think he knows he's really got to try and get past Southerners and push on, but he just hasn't quite got the pace advantage that I think he needs to get the move done. Rigsy meanwhile has gotten past Monkey and is now in P11, so he's in the prime position should anyone within the top 10 drop out to
got JH in the
spot and get the extra. JH, as you say, isn't the pit, so that gives a few of the drivers around him an extra spot. As Chito's just extending his gap all the while, it's up to about 13 seconds now. As Clock getting a bit of a slide on through turns 7, 8 and 9. And McEwen is now only a couple of seconds. That
Clock speed
tyre advantage that he's got on the fresh soft.
Urged on in the chat. Will that help him to get past Southerners? Too far back to make a move. Nothing doing there. And all the while, as you say, Harry, McEwen creeping up to the back of them. If he can get close to him in the next lap or so, his tyres will still be in a pretty solid condition for him to cruise past, you should imagine. But yeah, any later than I should think about lap 26, then he'll probably start to struggle. What I can see as well could be a bit of a battle emerging for P8 between Zen and Liam and Jib-Jab. Jib-Jab on the softs, I should think will probably get up to 8th if he can keep it clean for the rest of the race, but we'll have to see on that one. He's closing in pretty quickly on Liam, who of course, a bit unfortunate I should think to lose his wing, getting caught up in that big melee with Ranga and Monkey and Morgan earlier on in the race.
So
I say that Jib-Jab right in the wall, so
McEwen right on the back now of Colker, and I think he's actually going to be able to go for a move here. Colker defending the inside into the chicane. Turns 7 and 8, defending very well there, it has to be said. But McEwen not giving it up, trying to have a little look at the inside of turn 9. Puts Colker off a bit, forces her offline, but having said that, Colker gets a very good exit out of turn 9, and it doesn't mean, I don't think McEwen's going to be close enough now to go for the move. And this is definitely going to be good for Clock
and Southerners, Harry.
And Clock is going for it once again on Southerners. Southerners going very deep. Oh, and he's just forced Clock there. He's forced Clock to relinquish that position, and Colker's gotten through now as well. I think that was a little bit. I think that was a little bit aggressive from Southerners, really, just forcing Clock off. I mean, I know I shouldn't really be commenting but that did look like Clock didn't really have anywhere to go there, and that has really cost Clock, as now McEwen is right on the back of not only Colker but Sumners as well, and looking good for P2, it has to be said.
Yeah, Clock just nowhere to go on the outside. Left Southerners more than enough room on the inside, but unfortunately didn't work out the other way.
In fact, Jitto is almost in the position, I think, where he could actually pit. I don't think he will, because obviously he's got such a big gap that it would just be unnecessary. But I think he could actually. Jib Jab and Liam definitely closing in on Zenon, so I don't think that's the end of that. I think there's still a bit of a battle for P8 going on here. As I don't think there's going to be too much of a battle really for P2. As McEwen now right on the back of Southerners. Fresh tyres, or at least fresher tyres, softer tyres, DRS, overtake, slipstream, the whole shebang. I think he's going to make this look relatively easy. Southerners trying to defend. Even still, McEwen gets the move done. Just so 15 seconds ahead. I think it would be a push really to pit. There's not really much point anyway. I don't think
bring it home.
To, so
no need to risk it.
Yeah, exactly. Just bring it home. Southerners then going to try and hold on. I think as dear life really try and hold on to that P3. Polka, I think, will be in a position to have a go at him. Try and go for a move as Jib Jab Champ. He's gotten past Zenon pretty comfortably there by the looks of things. Liam only 3 seconds up the road. I reckon Liam's got a decent shot at getting Zenon as well for the end of the race. Riggsy, who I don't think has ever been more than a second away from anyone this whole race, is now battling with Monkey after spending, well, a good chunk of the first 20 laps battling with Tuman. So Riggsy is definitely getting involved in some battles today. Colker having a look on Southerners but thinking better of it. I think she's just waiting for this long back straight to go for the move. Gets a pretty nice exit. That's just Southerners though, having said that. Colker, so, I think she'll be able to push it. Southerners as well, looking pretty quick in a straight line. Then here she comes to the outside. Southerners, I think, is going to hold it to the inside as he has done pretty much every other time, but I don't think he's going to be able to as Colker gets past. Clock's dropped off a little bit since that incident with, so I think Clock's chance at a podium is perhaps just gone now. Although I'm sure Clock will very much like to still try and get past Southerners, given the incident they had only a lap or so ago. Liam is within a second now of Zenon Jam, so if I can get to that, we'll
yeah,
he's
not quite close
only...
enough, I don't think, unfortunately, to make a move, but maybe on the last lap.
There's only a couple of laps
Super
left.
Super late on the brakes, just avoids
is...
the back of the McLaren.
Oh,
Zenon getting squirmy on traction.
Well, actually. Yes, as I was going to say, only a couple laps left now, so I think it is going to be about time to start asking for your driver of the day votes in the chat, please. I think I know who I'd vote for, but I shan't say in case it sways the vote. But yeah, I definitely know who I'd be voting for if I was watching.
As do I.
And Reese still battling, still very close to one another. In fact, the closest to on track bar Zenon and Liam. This is for P9 and P10. I think Liam's going to have a pretty decent chance here at getting P9 off Zenon. We'll have to wait and see. McEwen's brought the gap down to Jitto a good 3 seconds or so, but it's enough, is it really? I think, well, he's just been absolutely commanding.
Yeah, the chat
very impressive
for,
drive.
Zyja says Callum McEwen, as does Tax, but well, Tax says McEwen or Jitto. We've got about 4 or 5 now for Jitto. as I'm sure was he was going to be your vote, Harriet, as
Oh,
was
Zenon hits the
mine for
wall jam.
Jitto. Oh, has he?
Under pressure from Liam, Zenon hits the wall, loses an end plate, and Liam just slides on through. Probably the easiest pass Liam will make for quite a while, I'd imagine. But yeah, Zenon then with the damage. I wonder if he's going to come under pressure from his teammate Riggsy coming into the race, as he's going to have to do this last lap and a half with half a front wing. But talking about this last lap, we will go on board with the race leader Jitto. He's well, not really had a great deal of stream time since taking the lead of this race. Been in control for the most part ever since taking the lead on around about, I think, lap 10. Not really looked back since, and well, on debut as well in Division 1 after moving up from Division 2 with some very impressive performances. But he's looking very good, isn't he, Jam?
Yeah, 1 sector, well, just about 1 sector to go now for Jitto. It's been a commanding drive, as we said. As Middy pointed out in the chat, though, of course, if Kevin didn't get damage, would have been a closer race. Could have potentially been a different story, but either way, got to be in it to win it. He's kept it out of trouble. He's been quick all weekend. And yeah, what a great drive from Jitto, moving up from Division 2 last weekend to Division 1. Don't want to say it just yet, but could be on his way to elite at this rate. Either way, round the final corner, Jitto to win on debut in Division 1. What a great drive from him. Absolutely fantastic performance. McEwen looking like he's going to head home in second. Solid drive from him from about 7th on the grid,
yeah,
I think it was.
Solid drive from him.
Yep. Jitto with a couple of penalties, I think that was as well. So Kevin might have been there or thereabouts if he hadn't hit the wall early, but unfortunately for him.
Colker on debut in the division, taking P3. Good result for her. Clock comes home P4. I think he'll be a little bit disappointed that he didn't get that P5 in the end. P3, sorry, in the end. Obviously, having that incident with Southerners, it has sort of sorted itself out there, Jam. It has put Southerners into P5. Kevin comes home P6. As mentioned, getting that damage could have been a different story for him. Wasn't meant to be yet again, as it was in Australia. Still, P6, some decent points for Kevin, but I'm sure he will be a little bit disappointed with how that race has turned out. JH P7, again, I think another one that may be a little bit disappointed with the finishing result. Jib Jab comes home P8, so some solid points for him. Zenon gets P9 in the end, and Monkey comes home P10 after Riggsy and Liam both had a few penalties to serve. Riggsy, I think, actually picked Liam as well at the end there. Drive of the day from the game goes to Jib Jab. I think our drive of the day has gone to Jitto.
Whoa, it's a pretty even split now between.
Or is it pretty even?
I think it's about 4 or 5 each for Jitto and McEwen. But I mean, if our votes count, I'm not sure if they do. But if I had to give it to anyone, I'd give it to Jitto, I think. But yeah, great drive from McEwen as well. To be honest, from 8th, I think it was, to P2. So yeah, definitely not to be snuffed at either.
Yeah. So don't know if you could perhaps try and get the top 3 into the party then, please, Jam, because one of the top 3 will be driver of the day anyway. But then there we have it. Jitto on debut in Division 1 wins the Vietnam Grand Prix, the inaugural Vietnam Grand Prix here for SLR F1. Jitto winning in the Williams from McEwen in the Ferrari, 2 stopping from 8th on the grid, so good drive from him. Comes home P2. Third on debut for this season is Colker in P3. Clock comes home P4 after that little tangle with Southerners. He'll be disappointed to miss out on the podium. Southerners comes home P5. Solid drive from him. Pretty quiet race until obviously Clock caught up to the back of him. Kevin P6, 2 stopping. He'll be a little bit disappointed, I think, that he couldn't convert that pole into the win yet again. JH comes home 7th with the fastest lap. Another driver 2 stopping, as was Jib Jab. 16th to 8th, solid points for him. And the rest of the guys in the top 10. So apologies for that. But yeah, so I think we've got a couple of the guys from the top 3 in the party. Is Jitto in as well, Jam?
Not yet, no. I'm not sure if he will be joining.
Well, whilst we wait for Jitto, we'll do the other two podium interviews then. So
Well, I'm not sure how great Colker's English is in the nicest way possible. Are you all right to speak or not? Because I'm not sure if she's done them before or not, Harry. That's
yeah, that's all right. Um, Otherwise, obviously, well, I'll say congratulations to the top three for their podiums. Should we move on to Callum then?
yeah, I
If you
think that's probably best. All right then. Uh, I think this will probably be quite a short interview. I think it's only Callum that we've got, unfortunately. But yeah, of course, congratulations to Colco on third and Gisso on the win. But either way, the two-stop strategy working for you in the end, going from eighth on the grid to second. I think a few incidents probably helping you out as well. But yeah, talk us through it. How was it for you out there? Obviously, first race found Hanoi, so yeah, obviously not much to expect in a way, keeping it out the walls, I guess. But yeah, how was it for you?
Yeah, it's good. It's comfortable. I think the Wednesday race in the F2 helped to practice, but yeah, it's just comfortable. Obviously, what happened in front, I think, with Kevin having a pit again, and really, I think the one stop was a mistake for quite a few drivers, as they weren't really showing any pace at the end, and I just managed to get past them before the soft started to fade, and just held the position really.
Yeah, was the one stop always your not the one stop, so was the two stop always your plan, or with the restart of the lobby, did that sort of set a two stop up for you, thinking the fresher tyres at the end?
I preserved my qualifying tyres, so I was always going to go for a two-stop. I just felt it was a lot more comfortable, especially with the walls being so tight. Any little slip from the rear end, you could be in a wall at any moment. So I just thought I'd just play it safe and see where I ended up.
Yeah, not got too much more to say now. Then I think we that's gonna be about it. Either way, great race from yourself. Eighth, I think it was to second. A strong vote for driver of the day. I think it's just been edged out by Jitto, but either way, a great result from yourself.
Cheers.
I think that's about it then, Harry.
Yeah, all right then. So after yes again a bit of a glitchy race for Division One, but nevertheless a very exciting race, a very entertaining race. It was eventually won by Jitto, who well was
Oh, Harry,
rather
I'm just gonna
commanding
cut you out. So I got a
final
quick
stint. That's all
little,
right.
just got a quick little message from Kolka. She says very good race after the connection troubles, and a good battle with clock. So yeah, well done to Kolka as well. Third, in,
Yeah,
I think that's her first
congratulations,
podium for
from
quite a while
people.
actually. So yeah, well done.
Yeah. So yeah, very good drive. Obviously from the top three as well. Clock had a very good drive as well for P4 as is Southerners P5. Anyway, yes, Jitto commanding drive. It was really sort of after everything kind of leveled out to win the race from SLR McEwen, two stopping. Very good pace from him to come home P2, and Kolka getting the better of Clock, who she battled with for the majority of the race there, to come home P3. But that is all we've got time for tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for Division 2 and Division 3, and of course on Sunday for Elite. Other than that, it is good night from myself and good night from Jam.